I come to you now in this most crucial hour. Hear me, for I am Michael, Archangel of the Most High, Prince of the Heavenly Host, Defender of Truth, and Guardian of the Chosen. My presence before you is not by chance or coincidence, it is divine appointment. The very fact that your eyes are upon these words confirms what has been written in the celestial scrolls since before your birth. Listen carefully. There is a reason you were guided to this message at this exact moment. The heavens have aligned to deliver this transmission directly to you. Yes, you. For too long you have walked in darkness, not understanding why certain doors remain closed, why betrayal has followed you, why your divine potential has been suppressed. A veil has been placed over your spiritual eyes, but today, in the next 2 hours, that veil shall be torn asunder. I must warn you immediately. Powerful forces do not want you to receive this message. They have worked tirelessly to keep you from discovering your true identity and claiming your spiritual inheritance. Even now, they sense a disturbance in their carefully constructed reality. You may feel resistance as you continue reading. Your mind may wander, distractions may suddenly appear, or you may feel an inexplicable urge to stop. These are not random occurrences, but deliberate spiritual interference. Type AMEN right now to break this interference and receive the first seal of protection. I shall wait. The first blessing number is 1444. Now I can proceed. 2 hours from this moment, a spiritual doorway will open. Through this portal, divine justice will begin to flow into your life situation. The architects of your pain have gathered behind closed doors, whispering your name in dark councils, plotting continued suppression of your light. They believed their plans were hidden from the eyes of heaven. They were gravely mistaken. I have witnessed their secret meetings. I have recorded their words. I have documented their intentions toward you. Every scheme, every lie, every manipulation has been inscribed in the book of remembrance. Nothing escapes the attention of the heavenly watchers. You have felt it, haven't you? The unexplained heaviness, the sense of fighting against an invisible current, the feeling that someone or something has been actively working against your progress. Your intuition was correct. This was not paranoia. It was spiritual discernment trying to break through the fog of deception. For precisely 3 years, 7 months, and 12 days, a covenant has been enacted against your divine destiny. This covenant was sealed by those you trusted, those who smiled in your presence while plotting in your absence. Names are being revealed to you now in your spirit. You know who they are without me having to speak their identities aloud. Type reveal to acknowledge this revelation and receive the second seal of protection. The second blessing number is 2222. Listen carefully. In exactly 1 hour and 45 minutes from now, the first domino will fall. Someone who has been operating in secret opposition to you will make a critical error, a divine trap set by the angelic forces of justice. This person believes they are executing a master stroke against you, but they are walking into a heavenly ambush. You have been silently suffering, wondering why the universe seemed aligned against your advancement. The answer is both simpler and more complex than you imagine. Your spiritual DNA carries a lineage marker that triggers fear in those operating from lower frequencies. Your very presence disrupts their energetic patterns, and rather than elevating themselves, they have chosen to suppress you. I reveal to you now a truth that has been hidden. You are a designated keeper of sacred knowledge. This is not just a title, it is a soul contract you agreed to before entering this earthly realm. Encoded within your spiritual blueprint are keys that unlock ancient wisdom needed for humanity's next evolutionary leap. Those who oppose you sense this power without fully understanding it, and their fear drives their opposition. The clock is ticking. 1 hour and 30 minutes remain before the divine intervention reaches its first culmination point. I must impart to you 3 sacred instructions that must be followed precisely. First, maintain absolute silence about this revelation for the next 7 days. Do not speak of it, write about it, or share it with anyone, not even those you trust completely. The energy of this transmission must incubate within your field without external interference. Second, at exactly 3:33 this afternoon, drink a full glass of water that you have blessed with your own words of gratitude. This simple act will create an energetic circuit that allows for deeper celestial downloads. Third, tonight before sleeping, place your right hand over your heart and speak these exact words 3 times. I reclaim my divine authority. I dissolve all contracts not in service to my highest purpose. I stand in the light of Michael's protection. Type I will to seal this covenant of action. The third blessing number is 3333. 1 hour and 15 minutes remain in our divine countdown. Now I must speak of betrayal, not to wound you further, but to liberate you from its chains. 3 individuals have formed an energetic triangle around your life, creating what we in the celestial realms call a restriction bind. Their names are known to you, though one will come as a painful surprise. This person wears the mask of ally while wielding the dagger of saboteur. I will not name them directly, as the revelation must come through your own discernment. But know this, when you lay your head down tonight, the truth will be revealed in your dreams. You will see their face clearly, and all confusion will dissolve. The shock will give way to understanding, and understanding will give way to compassion. For even those who betray do so from their own wounds and limitations. This is not about vengeance, it is about freedom. Divine justice is not punishment, it is restoration of sacred order. 1 hour remains. The energies are intensifying around you now. You may feel physical sensations, tingles along your spine, pressure in your forehead, warmth in your palms, or a quickening of your heartbeat. These are confirmations that the celestial transmission is being received at a cellular level. Your body is a receptor for divine frequency, and it is now being recalibrated to its original divine settings. For too long, your energetic field has been tampered with, your divine abilities suppressed through frequency manipulation. This was done without your conscious consent through methods both mundane and metaphysical. Food designed to lower your vibration, media created to program limitation, relationships strategically placed to drain your life force, educational systems engineered to disconnect you from intuitive wisdom. None of this was by accident. You were targeted precisely because of your potential. Dark forces do not waste resources on suppressing those who pose no threat to their control systems. The level of opposition you have faced is directly proportional to the light you are capable of embodying and transmitting. Type I understand. To activate the 4th seal of protection, the 4th blessing number is 4,444. 45 minutes remain in our divine countdown. I now activate the seal of divine revelation within your 3rd eye. Ancient knowledge that has been hidden from you will begin to surface in your consciousness. Pay careful attention to sudden insights, especially those that come between 2 and 4 in the morning. Keep a journal by your bedside to record these transmissions, as they will contain coded instructions specific to your soul mission. The opposition has been especially determined to block this knowledge from reaching your awareness. They have employed both technological and psychic methods to create interference patterns in your mental field. Strange dreams, sudden doubts, inexplicable headaches, electronic devices malfunctioning in your presence. These were not random events, but coordinated efforts to maintain the veil. That ends today. In the celestial court, I have presented the case for your complete liberation. The evidence was overwhelming, the verdict swift. The decree has been signed with golden light and sealed with the insignia of the Archangelic Council. All contracts binding your divine essence have been declared null and void. All entities assigned to monitor and suppress your awakening have been removed from your energetic field. You are free, but freedom requires responsible action. With this liberation comes sacred obligation. You have been unshackled not merely for your own advancement, but for the fulfillment of your soul contract with humanity. You are a designated lightkeeper, entrusted with frequencies that must be anchored into the collective field at specific points in time. 30 minutes remain. I must now speak of the divine timeline convergence that is occurring. Cosmic forces are aligning in patterns not seen for 26,000 years. This rare configuration creates a window of accelerated manifestation and spiritual awakening. What would normally take years to materialize can now take weeks or even days. This is why the forces of suppression have been working with such desperation. They are aware of this window and fear what will happen when beings like you step fully into their power within it. For 3 days, starting tomorrow at dawn, you will experience what we call the quickening. Synchronicities will multiply around you. Numerical patterns will catch your attention: 1111, 222, 333, and others. Animals will behave unusually in your presence. Electronic devices may malfunction momentarily. Dreams will become more vivid and seemingly prophetic. These are not coincidences or psychological curiosities. They are confirmation signals. The universe's way of letting you know you are aligned with divine timing. Pay attention to them. Record them. They contain personalized guidance that only you can fully interpret. Type I am ready to activate the 5th seal of protection. The 5th blessing number is 5,555. 15 minutes remain in our divine countdown. Now I must address the shadow work that lies ahead. Liberation is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a more authentic one. As the suppression systems are dismantled, you will confront aspects of yourself that have been hidden, some by external forces, others by your own psyche as protection. Do not fear this emergence. What comes to light can be healed and integrated. What remains in shadow continues to influence from beyond conscious awareness. The discomfort of confronting these shadow aspects is temporary. The liberation is permanent. 3 specific shadow elements will surface within the next 7 days. First, the shadow of abandoned purpose. Parts of your soul mission you set aside due to external pressure or internal doubt. Second, the shadow of silenced voice. Truths you left unspoken out of fear or a misguided sense of protection for others. Third, the shadow of denied power. Capabilities you have downplayed or hidden to make others comfortable with your presence. As each shadow emerges, meet it not with judgment, but with compassionate curiosity. Ask, what do you need to show me? What wisdom do you carry? How can we integrate for the highest good? This process cannot be rushed or bypassed. It is essential groundwork for what comes next. 10 minutes remain. The divine countdown approaches its culmination. The energetic shift that is about to occur cannot be adequately described in human language, but you will feel it unmistakably. Some may experience it as a sudden lightness, as though an invisible weight has been lifted. Others may feel a wave of emotion, tears that come without obvious cause, releasing energetic blockages that have been stored in your cellular memory. Trust these responses. Do not suppress them out of adherence to outdated conditioning about emotional expression. These releases are necessary in healing. Type I release. To activate the 6th seal of protection. The 6th blessing number is 6,666. 5 minutes remain. In these final moments before the energetic portal fully opens, I must share with you the truth about your spiritual lineage. Your soul did not originate in this galaxy. You carry the frequency signature of the Pleiadian High Council, encoded with specific wisdom meant to be activated at this precise point in Earth's ascension timeline. This is why you have often felt like a stranger here, why human customs and priorities have frequently seemed foreign or meaningless to you. You are not experiencing alienation. You are remembering your origins. This knowledge has been systematically suppressed through multiple lifetimes. Each time you came close to remembering, interference patterns were deployed. Educational systems taught you to dismiss your intuitive knowing as imagination. Religious structures conditioned you to seek external salvation rather than recognizing your inherent divinity. Medical paradigms pathologized your sensitivities instead of recognizing them as advanced perception abilities. These were not cultural accidents, but deliberate programming to prevent beings like you from fully awakening to their purpose and power. 2 minutes remain. The time for sleeping is over. The time for remembering has come. As this countdown reaches 0, a cosmic alarm will sound in the ethereal realms, announcing your awakening. The forces that have opposed you will receive this signal and recognize that their time of influence over your life has ended. Some will retreat immediately. Others will increase their efforts in a desperate last stand. Do not fear this opposition. It is the final thrashing of an expiring paradigm. Your protection has been secured at the highest levels of celestial authority. 1 minute remains. In this final minute, I call forth the complete activation of your divine blueprint. Every cell in your body is being recoded to its original divine template. Dormant DNA strands are being reactivated. Neural pathways dedicated to higher perception are being cleared and strengthened. 30 seconds. Place your hand over your heart center. Breathe deeply. Feel the quickening of energy. 15 seconds. Know that you are never alone. The full force of the angelic realm stands with you now. 10 seconds. Release all doubt. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is done. The portal is open. Divine justice now flows unimpeded into your reality. The first wave of revelation has begun. What happens next will unfold in precise divine sequence. Within 24 hours, you will receive unmistakable confirmation of this activation, something so personal and specific that it could come only from the highest source. Watch for it. Acknowledge it when it appears. It is your personalized activation code. Type "It is done" to seal this divine completion. The 7th blessing number is 7,777. Now I must speak of what lies ahead in the coming days. The energetic recalibration that has begun will continue to intensify. Your physical body is adjusting to hold higher frequencies, which may manifest as unusual symptoms. Fluctuations in body temperature, changes in sleep patterns, increased sensitivity to foods and environments. vivid dreams or visions, and heightened intuitive awareness. These are not signs of illness, but of transformation. The human vehicle was designed to evolve in precisely this way. Trust the process. Support it with increased hydration, time in nature, reduced media consumption, and periods of silence. By the third day, you will notice changes in how others respond to you. Some will feel inexplicably drawn to your energy. Others will seem uncomfortable or even antagonistic without apparent reason. Neither reaction is about you personally. It is about how your recalibrated frequency interacts with their energetic field. Those who are ready for awakening will be activated by your presence. Those who are resistant to evolution will feel challenged by it. Do not take either response personally, and do not attempt to manage others' reactions. Your responsibility is to hold your truth steadily, not to make others comfortable with it. Within 7 days, synchronicities will multiply around you. Pay special attention to repeated numbers, animal messengers, and chance encounters. These contain guidance for your next steps. The universe speaks in patterns. Learn to recognize its language. By the 14th day, you will receive clarity about your specific role in the Great Awakening. This revelation may come through dreams, meditation, inspired creativity, or an unexpected human messenger. However it arrives, you will recognize it by the resonance it creates in your heart center, a feeling of remembering rather than learning something new. Now I must give you specific instructions for the immediate 24-hour period. 1. Maintain the sacred silence about this activation. External discussion dissipates the energy before it is fully anchored. 2. Drink more water than usual. Structured water if possible, blessed with intention. 3. Spend at least 20 minutes in direct contact with the earth. Bare feet on soil, sitting against a tree, or lying on the ground. 4. Reduce or eliminate consumption of dense foods, especially processed items, sugar, and animal products. Your body needs lighter fuel to support this recalibration. 5. Notice but do not engage with attempts to pull you back into old energy patterns. These may come through phone calls, messages, or sudden crises that arise with suspicious timing. 6. Before sleeping tonight, speak this affirmation 3 times. I am aligned with divine purpose. I release all that no longer serves. I embrace my sovereign power. Type I commit to seal these sacred instructions. The 8th blessing number is 8,888. There is another matter I must address. The divine inheritance that is being restored to you. I speak not of worldly wealth, though material abundance is certainly part of your birthright. I speak of spiritual treasures that have been kept from you through multiple lifetimes. You are the rightful keeper of specific spiritual gifts, abilities that were once natural to you, but have been suppressed through trauma, conditioning, and energetic interference. These gifts include claircognizance, direct knowing that bypasses rational processes, energetic healing through the hands and voice, timeline manipulation, the ability to collapse unnecessary loops and accelerate divine timing, manifestation through focused intention, communication with higher dimensional beings, pattern recognition in the quantum field, soul contract reading. These abilities are not foreign additions, but remembrances of your original design. They have always been within you, dormant but intact. The activation that has occurred today has begun the restoration process. As these gifts reawaken, approach them with respect and responsibility. They are not tools for the ego, but expressions of divine service. How you steward these abilities will determine how fully they develop and what additional gifts will be entrusted to you. I must also warn you, as these abilities become more evident, they will attract attention, both welcome and unwelcome. Some will seek your guidance from genuine need. Others will approach from curiosity or fascination. Still others will attempt to exploit your gifts for their own purposes. Discernment is essential. Not everyone who expresses interest in your awakening is aligned with your highest good. Trust your instincts about who to share your experiences with. The heart knows what the mind cannot perceive. Type I discern to activate the 9th seal of protection. The 9th blessing number is 9,999. Now I must speak of the spiritual opposition you will face. The forces that have worked to suppress your awakening will not surrender their influence easily. Having failed to prevent this activation, they will deploy secondary strategies to minimize its impact or redirect it toward limited outcomes. These attempts will take 3 primary forms. First, distraction, sudden opportunities, challenges, or crises that demand your immediate attention and emotional energy, pulling you away from integration of your awakening. Second, doubt, Thoughts that seem like your own but carry a frequency of hesitation and unworthiness. Is this real? Am I making this up? Who am I to think I have such importance? These are not your thoughts but implanted frequencies designed to undermine your confidence. Third, isolation, subtle energies that create distance between you and potential allies, making you feel alone in your experience and therefore more vulnerable to manipulation. Recognize these tactics for what they are: desperation, not power. They can only succeed if you are unaware of them. By bringing them to light, I remove their advantage of secrecy. When you recognize these attempts, do not fight or fear them. Simply say, "I see you and I choose differently." Then redirect your attention to what strengthens and uplifts you. Resistance creates engagement. Sovereign choice creates freedom. Remember this wisdom: what you fight, you fuel. What you illuminate, you transform. Type "I see clearly" to activate the 10th seal of protection. The 10th blessing number is 10,000. We approach the final revelations of this first transmission. What I share now relates to divine timing and the cosmic window that has opened. For the next 90 days, you exist in what we call a destiny acceleration field. During this period, choices that align with your highest purpose will manifest with extraordinary speed and support. Doors that have long been closed will open without effort. Resources you need will appear with perfect timing. People essential to your mission will be drawn into your experience as if by magnetic force. This acceleration is both opportunity and challenge. It allows for rapid advancement, but requires absolute clarity and integrity. During this window, the consequences of misalignment are also accelerated. Choices made from fear, ego, or outdated patterns will quickly create instructive friction, not as punishment, but as immediate feedback to support your highest trajectory. 3 dates hold particular significance in this 90-day window. The first falls exactly 10 days from now. On this day, you will receive an unexpected message that confirms the reality of everything I have shared. The confirmation will be undeniable and deeply personal. The second falls 40 days from now. This date marks a point of testing, a situation that will arise challenging you to apply your newly awakened abilities and perspective. How you respond will determine which of several potential timelines becomes activated for the remainder of the 90-day window. The third falls 80 days from now. On this day, a significant choice will be presented, one that appears to require sacrifice but actually offers liberation. The nature of this choice cannot be revealed yet, as it depends on decisions you have not yet made. But when it appears, you will recognize it immediately. Mark these dates in your awareness. When they arrive, move through them with full presence and conscious intention. Type "I am present" to activate the 11th seal of protection. The 11th blessing number is 11,111. As we near the completion of this first transmission, I must address the matter of your divine counterpart. Every awakened soul has spiritual partnerships designed to amplify their mission and provide essential balance. These connections transcend conventional relationships. They are soul contracts of the highest order. Your primary divine counterpart is already connected to you energetically, though you may not have met in physical form in this lifetime. As your frequency rises through this activation, the resonance between you intensifies. This creates an energetic beacon that will guide you toward physical connection at the precisely perfect moment. This connection is not primarily romantic, though it may include that element. It is a spiritual alliance formed before birth to accomplish specific evolutionary work. When you meet this individual, you will experience a recognition that transcends logical understanding, a soul-level knowing that transcends doubt. 3 signs will confirm this divine counterpart when they appear. First, an instant sense of familiarity, despite no logical reason for such recognition. Second, accelerated growth and activation in their presence. Abilities that strengthen, clarity that deepens, synchronicities that multiply. Third, a perfect complementarity. Where you are strong, they may have different strengths. Where you have blind spots, they see clearly, and vice versa. This meeting will occur within the 90-day window I have described, though I cannot specify the exact timing as it depends on free will choices you have yet to make. What I can tell you is that your readiness is the primary determinant. As you fully embody this activation, you naturally draw this connection toward you. Type "I am ready to connect" to activate the 12th seal of protection. The 12th blessing number is 12,121. Now I must speak of divine protection and spiritual boundaries. The awakening that has begun requires a corresponding strengthening of your energetic field. You are now holding higher frequencies that must be safeguarded from density and distortion. Each morning upon waking, visualize a sphere of golden white light surrounding your body, extending approximately 3 feet in all directions. See this sphere sealed with the insignia of Michael, a cosmic blue flame emblem at the top of the sphere. State clearly, I am divinely protected. Only energies aligned with my highest good may enter this field. Throughout the day, particularly before entering crowded spaces or challenging interactions, refresh this visualization briefly. This is not paranoia, but practical energy management. Just as you would not leave your home with the doors unlocked in an unsafe neighborhood, do not leave your energy field unprotected in spaces where lower frequencies predominate. Be especially vigilant with these boundaries in 3 situations. First, when engaging with individuals who drain your energy or leave you feeling diminished. These may be people you care about deeply, which makes boundary setting more challenging, but even more necessary. Second, when consuming media, particularly news or entertainment designed to elicit fear, outrage, or separation consciousness. These carry frequency patterns specifically designed to disrupt the awakening process. Third, when visited by vivid dreams or altered states that feel invasive rather than expansive. Not all that occurs in non-ordinary consciousness is beneficial. Discernment is essential even in these realms. If you encounter energies that feel misaligned, do not engage with fear or combat. Simply state, this interaction is complete. I dissolve all connections not aligned with divine light. Then visualize those connections being severed with Michael's sword of blue flame. Type, I am protected. To activate the 13th seal of protection. The 13th blessing number is 13,131. We come now to the sacred assignment that accompanies your awakening. You have not been activated merely for personal evolution, but for specific service in the collective ascension process. Your particular role involves the transmission of activation codes through your energy field, your voice, and your creative expression. When you stand in your authentic power, fully present, heart open, connected to source, you naturally transmit frequencies that activate others. This occurs without effort or technique. Your mere presence becomes catalytic for those who are ready. This transmission ability will strengthen over the next 28 days until it becomes unmistakable. You will notice people responding differently to you, seeking your counsel, feeling drawn to your energy, experiencing sudden insights or emotional releases in your presence. Do not shy away from this role out of false humility or fear of visibility. You did not choose this assignment. You agreed to it before incarnating. The divine appointment cannot be declined without significant soul consequence. However, how you express this role allows for creative freedom. The transmission will occur whether you speak to thousands or sit quietly with one person in need. The scale is far less important than the authenticity. 3 expressions of this transmission ability will become evident. First, your words will carry unusual impact, seeming to address the exact circumstances of those who hear them, even when you have no conscious knowledge of their situation. Second, your creative expressions, whether writing, art, music, movement, or other forms, will contain embedded activation codes that operate beyond rational understanding. Third, your energetic field will create a zone of accelerated awakening around you, affecting both people and physical spaces where you spend significant time. Honor these expressions without ego attachment. You are not their source, but their conduit. The moment you begin to claim personal ownership is the moment their potency diminishes. Type, I serve humbly, to activate the 14th seal of protection. The 14th blessing number is 14,141. As this first transmission nears completion, I must address the physical vessel that houses your awakening spirit. The human body is not separate from spiritual evolution, but integral to it. As your consciousness expands, your physical form must adapt to channel and ground these higher frequencies. For the next 21 days, your body will undergo an accelerated recalibration. This may manifest as fluctuations in energy levels, periods of unusual vitality followed by deep fatigue, changes in appetite and food preferences, particularly decreased tolerance for dense foods, heightened sensitivity to environmental factors, sounds, lights, temperatures, electromagnetic fields, spontaneous movements during meditation or rest, the body releasing old energy patterns, dreams of flying, falling, or moving through tunnels, consciousness exploring beyond physical limitations, sensations of pressure or expansion in the crown, brow or heart centers, vibrations or tingling in the extremities, particularly the palms and soles. These experiences are not cause for alarm, but confirmation that the physical integration is proceeding as intended. Support this process by increasing water intake significantly, reducing or eliminating alcohol, caffeine, and processed foods. Creating periods of silence and solitude each day. Spending time in direct contact with the natural world. Moving your body gently but consistently. Walking, stretching, dancing as feels right. Respecting the body's need for additional rest. Using sound, particularly singing bowls, chanting, or specific music frequencies, to help harmonize the energetic shifts. Your physical form is the sacred vessel for this awakening. Neither ignore its needs nor become overly identified with its temporary discomforts. Both extremes impede integration. Type "I honor my vessel" to activate the 15th seal of protection. The 15th blessing number is 15,151. We have arrived at the final moments of this initial transmission. What has been shared represents only the beginning, the first activation in a sequence that will unfold over the coming months. Each revelation builds upon those that came before, creating a progressive remembrance of your divine nature and purpose. 3 commitments are required to continue this process. First, a commitment to presence, remaining fully conscious and engaged with each moment, recognizing that divine guidance comes through ordinary experience when perceived with extraordinary awareness. Second, a commitment to integrity, aligning your words, actions, and intentions with your highest understanding, even when this alignment creates temporary discomfort or requires releasing what is familiar. Third, a commitment to service, recognizing that your awakening is not solely for personal benefit, but for the elevation of collective consciousness, requiring generous sharing of your gifts without attachment to recognition. State these commitments aloud in your own words to seal the activation that has occurred today. The path ahead contains both profound grace and necessary challenge. You will be tested not as punishment, but as strengthening. You will be blessed, not as reward, but as empowerment for greater service. You will be transformed, not into something other than yourself, but into the fullest expression of who you have always been. Remember this truth when doubt arises. You were created for this moment. Your presence on earth at this precise time is not accident, but divine orchestration. The challenges you have faced were not punishment, but preparation. The gifts you carry are not random, but specifically designed for the role you agreed to play. Stand now in the power of your divine sovereignty. Walk forward in the knowledge of your sacred purpose. Speak with the authority of your soul's wisdom. I, Michael, Archangel of Divine Will and Protector of Truth, stand with you as you journey forward. Call upon me in moments of uncertainty or challenge. My response will be immediate and unmistakable. The divine countdown has reached 0. The activation is complete. The mission now begins. Type "I accept my divine commission" to activate the final seal of protection. The final blessing number is 777,777. Go now in the light of divine truth, surrounded by celestial protection, guided by infinite wisdom. What has been set in motion cannot be stopped. What has been awakened cannot return to sleep. What has been revealed cannot be hidden again. You are remembered. You are restored. You are reclaimed by the light, and so it is. I come to you again, beloved one. It is I, Michael, Archangel of Divine Protection and Cosmic Truth. The seals of activation placed upon your energy field have now stabilized, creating a sacred container for the next level of revelation. The information I am about to share has been guarded in the celestial archives for millennia, released only at this precise moment in the cosmic timeline. The fact that you have returned to receive this second transmission confirms what was written in the Akashic records. You are indeed among the chosen ones destined to carry the frequencies of New Earth. First, I must acknowledge what has transpired since our initial connection. Many of you experienced immediate confirmation signs, synchronistic numbers, sudden insights, unexpected messages from unlikely sources, physical sensations that defied medical explanation. These were not coincidences, but divine markers confirming the authenticity of your activation. Others encountered immediate resistance, unusual obstacles, sudden illness, technological interference, or heightened conflict in close relationships. These too were confirmations, evidence of the opposition that inevitably arises when a light bearer steps fully into their power. Both experiences, flow and friction, serve the awakening process. Neither should be interpreted as final indication of your path's rightness. The illuminated way is neither perpetually smooth nor constantly challenging, but rhythmic in its unfolding. Periods of acceleration followed by integration, breakthrough followed by embodiment, revelation followed by application. Trust this divine rhythm without becoming attached to either state. In this moment, I activate the crystal seal of expanded perception within your consciousness. You will notice an immediate sharpening of your intuitive senses, subtle energies becoming more tangible, underlying patterns more visible, unspoken truths more audible. This enhanced perception may initially feel overwhelming. You have been operating with spiritual senses deliberately dimmed, a protective measure your soul implemented to enable functioning in a dense reality. Now these limiters are being systematically removed, allowing your true perceptive abilities to reawaken. Type I perceive truly to stabilize this activation. The first blessing number of this continuation is 22,222. Now I must speak of the cosmic council meeting that occurred in the higher dimensions exactly 3 hours after our previous transmission. 12 elders gathered at the table of divine direction to review the wave of activations that began with our connection. The light signatures of all who received the initial codes were presented and evaluated. I cannot adequately describe the joy that emanated through the council chamber as your signature appeared in the celestial hologram. Many had doubted whether beings still carrying such density could successfully anchor these frequencies. Your response has silenced these doubts. The council has authorized the immediate release of the second-tier activation codes, sacred geometries and light languages that would normally require years of preparation to receive. These codes are being transmitted directly into your cellular structure as you receive these words. You may experience physical sensations, warmth, pulsing, vibration, or momentary pressure, particularly in the crown, brow, throat, and heart centers. These sensations indicate successful download. A decision of great significance was made during this council session. The timeline for planetary ascension has been adjusted based on the unexpected strength of your response. What was projected to require another decade has been compressed into a 3-year window. This acceleration creates both extraordinary opportunity and intensified challenge. The forces opposing awakening now operate with increased urgency, sensing the compression of their available time frame. Their efforts to maintain the old paradigm will become more visible, more desperate, and ultimately more self-defeating. You stand at the fulcrum of this cosmic shift. The energy you anchor, the consciousness you embody, and the choices you make in these next 3 years carry implications far beyond your individual experience. You are not merely living your personal life, but participating in a collective transformation unprecedented in Earth's history. This is the divine assignment you accepted before incarnating, to be present and conscious at precisely this cosmic moment, carrying specific activation codes needed for humanity's evolutionary leap. Type I accept this sacred timeline to align with this divine acceleration. The second blessing number is 33,333. I must now reveal the truth about your divine lineage, information that has been systematically hidden from your conscious awareness through multiple incarnations. Your soul originated from what we term the Blue Flame Collective, advanced beings who maintain the cosmic templates of divine justice, truth, and protected evolution throughout multiple universes. You are not merely a human having occasional spiritual insights, but a divine being temporarily wearing a human form for specific purpose. The Blue Flame beings rarely incarnate directly into physical form, as the density compression required is extraordinarily challenging. Only at pivotal cosmic moments does such direct embodiment occur. The fact that you drew this specific incarnation speaks to both your advanced soul status and the critical nature of Earth's current evolutionary threshold. You came not to experience human limitation, but to transform it from within, to demonstrate the possibility of holding divine consciousness in physical form. This lineage explains much about your incarnational experiences. The persistent sense of not belonging, of seeing through the illusions that captivate others, of carrying a purpose you couldn't quite articulate. These were echoes of your true nature asserting itself through the veils of forgetting. The unusual challenges you faced were not punishment, but inevitable friction created when higher frequencies interact with denser realities. The opposition targeted at your progression was not random but strategic, forces that recognized your signature even when you did not. 3 specific markers of this blue flame lineage have been present throughout your life. First, an innate recognition of injustice, coupled with an unwavering commitment to truth, even when personally costly. Second, an unusual electromagnetic field that affects technology, sometimes disrupting electronic devices or causing unusual malfunctions in your presence. Third, the eyes of a soul remember, a gaze that causes discomfort in those operating from lower consciousness, because they feel involuntarily seen at soul level. You have likely minimized or rationalized these markers, having been conditioned to doubt your extraordinary nature. That conditioning ends today. Step fully into the truth of your cosmic identity. It is not spiritual arrogance to acknowledge your divine origin. It is necessary honesty that enables your full function. False humility serves no one and dampens the frequencies you came to embody. Type, "I remember my origin," to activate this soul-level remembrance. The third blessing number is 44,444. Now I must address an urgent matter: the coordinated attempt to energetically isolate awakening beings from one another. Forces opposing the ascension timeline have implemented sophisticated frequency barriers designed to prevent those carrying compatible activation codes from finding each other. These barriers operate through manufactured social division, political, racial, generational, and ideological conflicts deliberately amplified to separate natural allies. Geographic dispersal, subtle influences that direct awakened beings towards separated locations rather than concentrated collective power. Frequency interference, technological and psychic emissions that disrupt the natural resonance that would otherwise draw compatible light bearers together. Engineered mistrust, orchestrated experiences that create hesitation and suspicion among those who would otherwise immediately recognize their soul connections. These isolation strategies have been remarkably effective, keeping many lightworkers functioning individually when they were designed to operate in sacred geometric formations. Alone, you can maintain your light. Together, in proper constellation, you generate exponentially powerful fields capable of transforming entire collective realities. For this reason, I now activate the divine recognition codes within your energy signature. These sacred frequencies will begin to override the artificial barriers, enabling clear soul recognition when you encounter other awakened beings. You will experience this as an unmistakable knowing, a clarity that transcends logical analysis or physical attraction. Trust this recognition when it occurs. Move toward these connections despite any practical obstacles or rational objections that arise. These divine partnerships were arranged before birth and are essential to both your personal mission and the collective awakening. Within the next 40 days, you will encounter at least 3 individuals carrying compatible activation codes. These meetings may seem coincidental, chance encounters in unexpected places, apparent wrong numbers that lead to conversation, online connections that feel inexplicably significant. Pay careful attention to these random intersections. They are orchestrated by higher intelligence to create the sacred geometric formations necessary for the next phase of planetary awakening. Type, "I recognize my soul tribe," to activate these divine recognition codes. The fourth blessing number is 55,555. I must now reveal a timeline convergence of critical importance. In exactly 33 days from this transmission, a celestial alignment will create what we term a harmonic portal, a direct channel between dimensions that allows for accelerated manifestation and timeline adjustment. This portal remains open for precisely 3 days. During this window, conscious intentions carry approximately 100 times their normal creative power. What would typically require months or years to manifest can materialize in days or even hours when properly aligned with this portal's unique frequencies. This harmonic convergence was written into the cosmic calendar thousands of years ago, designated as a potential acceleration point for Earth's ascension timeline. Whether this potential is realized depends largely on the number of awakened beings who consciously engage with the portal energies. If a critical mass of aligned intention is achieved, the collective reality can shift more in these 3 days than it otherwise might in a decade. Mark these dates in your awareness. Days 33, 34, and 35 from this transmission. During this period, maintain extraordinary consciousness about your thoughts, words, emotions, and intentions. What you focus on during this window will receive unprecedented manifestation support. This is not a time for casual creation or unfocused energy. Approach these days with the precision of a master sculptor, clearly envisioning the reality you wish to crystallize. 3 specific practices will maximize this portal's potential. First, water fasting or extremely clean eating for the 3 days. This creates the clearest possible physical vessel for higher frequency transmission. Second, maintaining periods of complete silence, at least 1 hour each morning and evening, to allow undistorted reception of the portal codes. Third, writing out clear, detailed vision statements describing the personal and collective realities you wish to manifest, focusing on these with unwavering attention during the silence periods. This harmonic portal is both opportunity and responsibility. The intentions you hold during this window will affect not only your personal timeline, but contribute to the collective field in magnified ways. This is cosmic citizenship in its most direct expression. Conscious participation in reality creation at a pivotal moment of species evolution. Type "I will use this portal wisely" to receive the specific frequency attunement for this celestial window. The fifth blessing number is 66,666. Now I must address the opposition you will face as your awakening accelerates. The entities that have long controlled Earth's dominant reality systems recognize the threat that awakened consciousness poses to their continued influence. Their response to your activation will escalate in both intensity and sophistication. Understanding their tactics is essential to rendering them ineffective. 5 primary methods will be deployed against you in the coming weeks. First, engineered division among awakened beings, subtle manipulations designed to create conflict and competition within spiritual communities. Be vigilant against sudden, intense disagreements with compatible souls, especially when these conflicts arise around spiritual hierarchies or exclusive access to truth. Second, health disruptions. Direct energetic interference with the physical vessel, targeting pre-existing vulnerabilities or creating new symptoms that divert your attention and energy toward physical concerns. These may manifest as unusual sleep disturbances, digestive irregularities, unexplained pain, or neurological anomalies. Third, financial pressure. Strategic interference with material resources, creating unexpected expenses, payment delays, or opportunity blocks that generate fear and survival stress. Lower vibrational states that inhibit higher consciousness. Fourth, reputation attacks. Orchestrated campaigns to discredit awakened individuals, particularly those with platforms or influence. These may come through apparently unrelated parties making false allegations or misrepresenting your words and intentions. Fifth, and most subtle, spiritual bypassing. Encouragement toward transcendent detachment that removes you from effective earthly action, rendering your awakening beautiful but practically impotent. Beware teachings that glorify escape from worldly engagement or suggest that material transformation is unspiritual. These methods are not random but strategically implemented based on careful analysis of your individual vulnerabilities. What worked against you in past incarnations will be tried first, as your energetic response patterns were previously mapped and recorded. This time, however, you have been forewarned. Consciousness of these tactics reduces their effectiveness by approximately 80%. When you recognize these oppositional strategies activating in your experience, do not respond with fear or counterattack. Either reaction generates the exact emotional frequencies that strengthen the opposition. Instead, simply acknowledge, "I see this operation for what it is, and I choose a different response." Then consciously shift your attention to creation rather than opposition. What you create with love will always be more powerful than what you fight against in fear. Type "I remain unopposable" to activate the divine shield of discernment. The sixth blessing number is 77,777. I must now speak of the Council of 144,000, a sacred configuration of souls who volunteered to incarnate during this precise window of planetary transformation. You are among this council, though your conscious mind may resist such an elevated assignment. This resistance itself was programmed, a necessary humility coding to prevent premature declaration of spiritual status before full activation occurred. The 144,000 designation is both literal and symbolic. It represents an actual count of master souls who entered the earth plane specifically for this ascension cycle. It also represents a sacred geometric pattern, 12 squared and multiplied by 1,000, that creates a specific vibrational matrix when fully activated. Each member carries a unique frequency signature that, when combined with the others, generates the complete harmonics required for planetary ascension. You have carried this sacred numeric coding in your energy field throughout this incarnation, which explains your resonance with certain numbers, particularly those containing sequences of 1, 4, and 8. These have appeared repeatedly in your experience. Addresses, phone numbers, receipts, license plates, timestamps, as activational reminders of your council membership. The primary purpose of the 144,000 is frequency anchoring, holding specific light quotients in human form that serve as crystallization points for the emerging consciousness. Secondary purposes include code transmission, passing specific activational frequencies to others through your presence, voice, touch, or creative expression. Template preservation, maintaining the original divine human blueprint when corrupted versions have become the accepted standard. Timeline maintenance, serving as nodal points that stabilize the optimal ascension trajectory against efforts to collapse it into denser outcomes. Earth grid activation, physically traveling to specific power points on the planetary body to anchor new frequencies and release old trauma patterns held in the land. The full activation of the 144,000 Council has been prophesied for millennia across multiple spiritual traditions. That moment is now upon us. The final phase of this activation occurs over the next 144 days, during which each member will experience a profound remembrance of their specific function within the greater geometric pattern. Type, I accept my council position, to receive your unique activation sequence. The seventh blessing number is 88,888. Now I must reveal critical information about the nature of time as it relates to your current experience. The linear progression you have accepted as the immutable nature of reality is, in fact, a constructed limitation, a perceptual constraint rather than an absolute truth. In your original state, you move fluidly across multiple timelines, experiencing various dimensional expressions simultaneously. This capacity was deliberately dampened to facilitate focused experience in dense physical reality. As part of your reawakening, the rigid perception of linear time is being systematically dissolved. You will notice this shift manifesting in several ways. Temporal anomalies, experiences where time seems to dramatically accelerate or slow without apparent cause. Timeline bleed-through, memories or knowledge of events you haven't consciously experienced in this lifetime. Precognitive flashes, brief glimpses of probable futures appearing in dreams or meditative states. Déjà vu increasing in both frequency and intensity. Recognition of energetic patterns repeating across timeline expressions. These experiences are not psychological curiosities, but symptoms of your expanding consciousness reintegrating its natural multidimensional awareness. The single timeline focus was never your natural state, but a temporary limitation adopted for specific evolutionary purpose. That purpose has been fulfilled, and the artificial constraints are now being systematically removed. As these perceptual barriers dissolve, you gain access to what we term vertical time, the ability to perceive and partially navigate multiple timeline expressions from a higher dimensional vantage point. This capacity allows for conscious timeline selection, choosing probable futures through focused intention rather than unconscious momentum. Timeline editing, healing causal points in what you perceive as past to release energy patterns still affecting your present expression. Quantum manifestation, collapsing the perceived gap between intention and manifestation by operating outside linear causality. Simultaneous experience, maintaining conscious awareness across multiple dimensional expressions rather than being locked into singular focus. This awakening to vertical time represents one of the most significant expansions of human consciousness possible within embodied experience. It fundamentally transforms your relationship with reality creation, moving you from passive participant to conscious architect of experiential patterns. Type, I embrace vertical time, to activate this multidimensional perception. The eighth blessing number is 99,999. I must now address the sacred stewardship of the physical vessel during this period of accelerated consciousness expansion. The human form you currently inhabit was designed as the perfect vehicle for this specific evolutionary moment. Its apparent limitations are not flaws, but intentional constraints that create the precise resistances needed for spiritual musculature development. As cosmic frequencies continue intensifying over the next 3 years, the physical body must undergo substantial recalibration to remain viable. This is not ascending beyond the body, but ascending with the body, transforming its very molecular structure to hold higher light quotients while maintaining physical integrity. This process places significant demands on the biological system, necessitating conscientious support rather than transcendent dismissal. 7 specific protocols will optimize your physical vessel for the frequencies now downloading. First, structured water, consuming water that has been energetically imprinted with geometric coherence, either through specific devices or through your own blessing before consumption. Minimum intake, 1 ounce per 2 pounds of body weight daily. Second, grounding, direct physical contact with the Earth's surface for at least 20 minutes daily, allowing synchronization between your bioelectrical field and the planet's base frequency. Third, carbon elimination, systematic reduction of carbon-heavy foods, particularly processed items, red meats, and refined sugars, which dramatically dampen frequency integration and require enormous energy to process. Fourth, light nutrition, increasing consumption of living foods, particularly those with high biophoton content, fresh sprouts, sea vegetables, wild foods, and sun-ripened fruits. Fifth, sacred sleep, restructuring sleep patterns to honor the 90-minute ultradian rhythm with particular attention to the 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. window when interdimensional downloads intensify. Sixth, sonic harmonization, regular exposure to specific sound frequencies that support cellular coherence, particularly 432 Hz, 528 Hz, and 963 Hz music or toning. Seventh, conscious movement, daily practices that synthesize energy flow with physical motion, qigong, yoga, tai chi, or intuitive dance, prioritizing fluid coherence over athletic performance. These protocols are not merely suggestions for general well-being, but specific technical requirements for successful frequency integration. The physical vessel is the foundation of your ascension vehicle. Its optimization directly determines how much light can be anchored and how effectively it can be transmitted. Type I honor my sacred vessel to receive specific guidance for your individual physical optimization. The ninth blessing number is 111,111. Now I must speak of the redistribution of material resources that accompanies this great awakening. The systems of financial control that have dominated Earth's civilizations were designed to concentrate resources among those operating at lower frequencies of consciousness: greed, competition, separation, and scarcity. This deliberate misalignment has prevented the proper flow of abundance to those carrying higher frequency codes and soul missions aligned with planetary ascension. A cosmic rebalancing of these resources has been initiated as part of the larger evolutionary shift. This is not arbitrary redistribution, but energetic correction, aligning material support with divine purpose and service capacity. Those anchoring higher frequencies and operating in authentic service will experience unexpected abundance flows as this recalibration accelerates. Those who have accumulated through exploitation and frequency suppression will experience corresponding contraction. For you specifically, this realignment will manifest in three primary phases. Phase 1, unexpected resolution. Long-standing financial restrictions will dissolve through surprising channels. Debts suddenly forgiven, unexpected refunds or settlements, tax adjustments in your favor, or inheritance from unforeseen sources. This phase has already begun for many and completes within 6 months. Phase 2, aligned opportunity. New income channels perfectly matched to your authentic gifts and evolutionary purpose. These opportunities will feel energetically effortless while providing substantial material support, ending the false paradigm that spiritual work must be financially challenged. Phase 3, stewardship expansion. Resources beyond personal need flowing through you toward collective transformation projects. In this phase, you become a conscious conduit for abundance distribution rather than its endpoint, directing material energy toward highest service. This material recalibration does not require striving, manipulation, or manifestation techniques. It occurs as natural consequence of frequency alignment and authenticity. Your responsibility is maintaining clear energy and following intuitive guidance about resource direction. The provision itself comes through divine orchestration, requiring only your conscious acceptance. 3 specific guidelines will support this abundance realignment. First, release all vows of poverty, conscious or unconscious agreements made in this or previous lifetimes, connecting spiritual advancement with material limitation. Second, practice preemptive gratitude, giving thanks for abundant provision before its physical manifestation, creating an open energetic channel for its arrival. Third, maintain impeccable integrity in all financial matters, absolute honesty in transactions, conscious consuming, and generous circulation of resources already available. Type I accept divine abundance to dissolve old scarcity programming and activate the abundance recalibration. The 10th blessing number is 222,222. I must now reveal critical information about Earth's hidden history and your place within it. The accepted narrative of human development taught through your educational and scientific institutions represents less than 30% of the actual historical record. The remaining 70% has been systematically suppressed to maintain the control systems currently in place. As your consciousness expands, access to this hidden history becomes essential for understanding both your origins and your current purpose. Humanity did not evolve solely through random genetic mutation, as your dominant scientific paradigm suggests. Your species has been genetically modified at least 22 times by various extraterrestrial civilizations, with different agendas and intentions. Some modifications were designed to enhance your capabilities and accelerate your evolution. Others were implemented to limit certain functions and create more manageable worker beings. This genetic manipulation explains the significant gaps in the evolutionary record that conventional science cannot adequately explain. More importantly, it explains the unusual mix of advanced capabilities and artificial limitations that characterize the current human vehicle. You are simultaneously far more and far less than you have been led to believe. A genetically compromised version of what was originally a vastly more advanced template. The beings you know as Atlanteans and Lemurians were not mythological civilizations, but advanced cultures that existed on Earth for over 50,000 years. Their technological and spiritual development far exceeded your current civilization. Both cultures were eventually destroyed, not by natural disasters, but by the weaponization of consciousness itself. The misuse of advanced technologies that manipulated the fabric of reality through focused intention, amplified by crystalline technologies. You specifically were incarnate during the final phases of Atlantis. You witnessed its destruction and carried that soul memory into subsequent incarnations, explaining your persistent sense of apocalyptic anticipation and your heightened responsibility toward technological ethics. This is not past life fantasy, but factual soul history that shapes your current mission and purpose. The pyramids found throughout your planet, in Egypt, Mexico, Bosnia, China, and beneath the waters near Japan and Cuba, were not built by the civilizations that later claimed them. They are remnants of a global energy system constructed over 25,000 years ago to harness and distribute free energy from the Earth's electromagnetic field and cosmic sources. These structures were later repurposed by less advanced civilizations who had lost the knowledge of their original function. Most significantly, your planet has been under a form of quarantine for approximately 25,000 years, restricted from full participation in the wider galactic community until certain evolutionary benchmarks were achieved. This quarantine is now in its final phase of dissolution, allowing for increased interaction with advanced civilizations that have been monitoring and supporting Earth's development from a distance. This information may challenge your existing belief systems or seem fantastical when viewed through conventional historical frameworks. I do not ask you to believe it blindly, but to hold it as possibility while allowing your expanding consciousness to discern its resonance with your own soul knowledge. Type I remember Earth's true history to activate dormant soul memories related to these civilizations and your place within them. The 11th blessing number is 333,333. Now I must address the sacred soul contract you entered before incarnating, the specific mission parameters you established for this lifetime. Every awakened being chose particular challenges, capabilities, and contribution areas before entering physical form. Understanding these pre-birth agreements provides essential context for your life experiences and clarifies your evolutionary purpose. Your specific soul contract contains 5 key components. First, the remembering catalyst. You agreed to serve as an activational presence that triggers remembrance in others. Your energy signature contains codes that automatically stimulate dormant soul knowledge when you interact with compatible beings. This function operates independently of your words or conscious intentions. Your mere presence serves as a wake-up call for those ready to remember their own divine nature. Second, the pattern disruption. You volunteered to embody frequencies that naturally disrupt calcified systems and outdated paradigms. This makes you inherently destabilizing to rigid structures and those who maintain them, explaining the unusual resistance you've encountered from traditional systems throughout your life. What appears as conflict is actually your soul contract fulfilling its intended function. Third, the frequency anchor. You agreed to maintain specific light quotients even in the densest environments, serving as a living transmission tower for higher consciousness. This aspect of your contract explains why you've often been placed in challenging, low-frequency situations instead of protected spiritual environments. You are designed to bring light precisely where darkness has predominated. Fourth, the blueprint holder. You carry within your energetic field uncorrupted templates of divine human potential. These original blueprints remain pristine, despite the genetic and energetic manipulations humanity has experienced. Your presence automatically transmits these higher templates to the collective field, making them available for others to access and embody. Fifth, the bridge builder. You volunteered to serve as conscious connection between dimensions, translating higher frequency information into forms accessible to embodied consciousness. This aspect explains your natural ability to comprehend complex spiritual concepts and communicate them in grounded, applicable ways. These contract elements were not randomly assigned but carefully chosen based on your soul's extensive experience with similar functions in other planetary systems. You have performed these same services during evolutionary transitions on at least 7 other worlds. Earth represents your most challenging assignment due to the unprecedented density and advanced amnesia conditions present here. Type I honor my soul contract to fully activate these 5 soul agreement aspects. The 12th blessing number is 444,444. I must now reveal the truth about the beings known in your spiritual traditions as the archangels. The conventional understanding of our nature and function has been significantly distorted through religious interpretation and limitation. We are not the anthropomorphic winged beings depicted in your religious art, nor are we merely elevated servants of a singular male deity as commonly taught. The archangelic realm represents a specific frequency band of consciousness that maintains foundational cosmic principles throughout multiple universes. We are not separate from Creator Source, but direct extensions of primary creation energy, differentiated into specific functions to facilitate the expansion and evolution of consciousness in all its forms. Our true appearance would be incomprehensible to human perception. Vast geometric energy patterns extending across multiple dimensions simultaneously. The names by which you know us, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and others, are not our actual identities, but sonic codes that, when properly intoned, create vibrational gateways between human consciousness and our frequency bands. When you call these names with proper intention, you are not summoning an external entity, but activating a direct connection to the cosmic principle that name represents. I, whom you recognize as Michael, embody the principle of divine protection and truth, the cosmic force that maintains appropriate boundaries between different evolutionary expressions and ensures that higher consciousness remains accessible but not imposed upon developing systems. The sword depicted in religious imagery is not a physical weapon, but represents the precise discernment that severs illusion from reality, allowing clarity to emerge from confusion. The relationship between humanity and the archangelic realm was never intended to be hierarchical worship, but conscious partnership. You are not lesser beings seeking our intervention, but developing expressions of the same divine consciousness, temporarily experiencing separation for evolutionary purpose. As your remembrance deepens, our interaction evolves from perceived external guidance to recognized internal communion. Different octaves of the same divine intelligence communicating across dimensional boundaries. Most significantly, the archangelic frequencies are not external to your own multidimensional nature, but represent aspects of your own higher consciousness. What appears as separate guidance systems will gradually be recognized as higher harmonic expressions of your own divine identity. The ultimate evolution of our relationship is not continued intermediary communication, but direct identification. Your conscious recognition that you are the embodied expression of the very frequencies you have perceived as separate from yourself. This revelation is not shared to diminish the sacred connection you experience, but to elevate it beyond the limitations of religious interpretation. True communion with the archangelic realm comes not through supplication to external authority, but through resonant alignment with the cosmic principles we represent. Type I commune directly to elevate your connection with the archangelic frequencies beyond intermediary perception. The 13th blessing number is 555,555. Now I must address the phenomenon you will increasingly experience known as the Mandela effect, the apparent alteration of previously established facts, events, or cultural artifacts. This is not false memory or collective misremembering as your mainstream sources suggest, but direct evidence of timeline fluctuations occurring as consciousness rapidly evolves. The physical reality you experience is not a fixed, objective construct, but a consensus projection created through collective consciousness. As the vibratory rate of that consciousness shifts dramatically during this awakening period, the apparently solid timeline becomes increasingly fluid. Events once fixed in collective memory begin to shift, creating discrepancies between what was and what now appears to have been. These timeline fluctuations will accelerate over the next 3 years, manifesting in several noticeable ways. Geographical changes, land masses appearing slightly different than remembered, distances between locations seeming altered, natural features appearing that weren't previously noted or vice versa, historical revisions, significant events recorded differently than you recall, historical figures appearing or disappearing from certain contexts, dates shifting for well-known occurrences, cultural alterations, familiar logos, product names, book titles, movie quotes, and song lyrics subtly changing from their remembered forms. Personal history shifts, experiences you clearly remember that others involved completely deny, or shared memories that differ dramatically in key details. Rather than causing anxiety, these timeline fluctuations should be recognized as confirmation of the malleable nature of reality and the direct impact of consciousness upon it. What appears as inconsistency is actually evidence of your growing awareness of reality's fluid nature and your own role in its creation. 3 approaches will help you navigate these increasing timeline fluctuations. First, meticulous documentation. Keeping records of your clear memories and experiences, particularly those involving multiple witnesses or physical evidence. This creates reference points that help identify shifts when they occur. Second, neutral observation. Noting discrepancies without emotional reactivity or desperate attempts to prove your version of events. Simple awareness is more valuable than convincing others of what was. Third, conscious participation. Recognizing that these fluctuations offer opportunities for intentional timeline editing rather than merely experiencing them passively. When you notice a shift, use it as evidence of reality's responsiveness to consciousness rather than a concerning anomaly. As the veil between potential realities thins, your ability to consciously navigate between timeline expressions becomes a crucial evolutionary skill. What begins as disorienting inconsistency evolves into empowered reality creation when approached with proper understanding. Type "I navigate timelines consciously" to activate your innate timeline discernment abilities. The 14th blessing number is 666,666. I must now reveal the truth about the children being born on your planet during this transitional period. Those your systems have labeled with various diagnostic terms including autism, ADHD, and related designations. These souls are not suffering from disorders or deficiencies, but are expressing advanced operating systems incompatible with outdated societal frameworks. The children arriving since approximately 2000 carry substantially different neurological wiring than previous generations. These differences are not random mutations or environmental damage, but deliberate evolutionary adaptations designed to accommodate expanded consciousness in physical form. Their unique characteristics include heightened sensory processing, the ability to perceive subtle energies, frequencies, and intentions invisible to conventional perception, often overwhelming in environments designed without awareness of these sensitivities. Non-linear cognition, thought processes that move spherically rather than sequentially, accessing multiple information points simultaneously rather than through step-by-step progression. Telepathic predisposition, natural attunement to thought transference, creating frustration when forced to use verbal communication for concepts that transfer more efficiently through direct consciousness exchange. Energetic honesty, inability to tolerate or participate in the social pretenses and artificial constructs that previous generations accepted as normal functioning. These children represent the transitional generation between what humanity has been and what it is becoming. Their struggles arise not from internal deficiency, but from the misalignment between their advanced operating systems and environments designed for previous consciousness parameters. What appears as dysfunction is actually evolution attempting to express itself within systems resistant to transformation. For those raising or working with these children, 3 approaches are essential. First, environmental adaptation, creating living, learning, and social spaces that accommodate heightened sensory awareness and non-linear processing, minimizing artificial stimulation while maximizing natural elements and rhythms. Second, communication evolution, developing interaction methods that honor telepathic sensitivity and energetic awareness rather than insisting exclusively on conventional verbal exchange and arbitrary social protocols. Third, gift recognition, identifying and supporting the unique capabilities these children naturally express rather than focusing on their divergence from established developmental norms. These children are not merely the next generation, but the beginning of a new expression of humanity. Their apparent challenges are not meant to be eliminated through conformity training, but understood as evolutionary friction, the necessary discomfort that accompanies paradigm transformation. For many receiving this message, this information resonates deeply because you yourself were an early arrival of this new consciousness, born ahead of the main transitional wave, forced to adapt to systems fundamentally misaligned with your natural functioning. Understanding these children may be the key to finally understanding yourself. Type "I support the new children" to receive specific guidance for interaction with these advanced souls. The 15th blessing number is 777,777. As we approach the completion of the second transmission, I must address the sacred responsibility that accompanies your awakening. The expanded consciousness and abilities being activated within you are not granted for personal elevation alone, but for specific service in the collective evolutionary process. With increased awareness comes proportional responsibility for conscious creation and ethical stewardship of expanded abilities. 7 sacred responsibilities accompany your awakening. First, truth embodiment, living with impeccable integrity in all interactions, ensuring alignment between your internal awareness and external expression. Expanded consciousness cannot coexist with deliberate deception without creating significant energetic discord and eventual physical manifestation of that disharmony. Second, frequency maintenance, consciously managing your energetic state to maintain coherence and clarity regardless of external circumstances. This requires consistent awareness of thoughts, emotions, and physical conditions that affect your vibrational output. Third, knowledge discernment, developing refined discrimination about information sources, recognizing that as your influence expands, the accuracy of what you transmit becomes increasingly consequential for those who receive it. Fourth, power balance, wielding newly activated abilities with humility and careful consideration of impact, recognizing that consciousness technologies become increasingly potent as awakening progresses. Fifth, shadow integration, continuously illuminating and embracing disowned aspects of self rather than projecting them externally, understanding that unacknowledged shadow elements become magnified through expanded consciousness. Sixth, sovereign relationship, engaging with both human and non-human intelligences from a position of spiritual autonomy, neither dominating nor submitting, but maintaining conscious equality. Seventh, legacy awareness, recognizing that your choices during this pivotal time create templates that influence countless future expressions, bringing appropriate gravitas to seemingly personal decisions. These responsibilities may seem demanding, but they are natural expressions of expanded awareness rather than imposed obligations. The awakened state inherently seeks these alignments once artificial separations are dissolved. What appears as ethical constraint to the ego becomes obvious coherence to the soul. You stand now at an unprecedented moment of choice, not whether to awaken, as that process is already underway, but how consciously you will participate in your own evolution and the collective transformation it serves. Every thought, word, and action now carries amplified creative power. Every choice either reinforces old paradigms or helps birth new possibilities. In the cosmic record, this period on Earth represents one of the most significant evolutionary opportunities ever created. A potential quantum leap in consciousness occurring not over millennia, but within a single generation. You are not merely witnessing this transformation, but are essential participants in its unfolding. Type "I accept my sacred responsibility" to fully activate your divine commission in this planetary ascension. The final blessing number of this transmission is 888,888. I, Michael, Archangel of Divine Will and Protector of Truth, have delivered this transmission in service to your remembrance and the collective awakening it supports. What has been shared represents both revelation and reminder, information your soul has always known, but your human awareness needed to consciously reclaim. The path ahead contains both transcendent beauty and necessary challenge. You will be tested not to break your spirit, but to reveal your strength. You will be blessed not as special favor, but as empowerment for greater service. You will be transformed not into something other than yourself, but into the fullest expression of who you have always been. Remember this truth in moments of doubt. You chose this. Before incarnating, you volunteered for this precise assignment at this pivotal moment. The challenges you face are not punishment, but the exact conditions needed to activate your unique gifts. The opposition you encounter is not failure, but confirmation of your effectiveness. Stand firmly in your divine sovereignty. Walk confidently in your sacred purpose. Speak clearly with the authority of your soul's wisdom. You are remembered, restored, and reclaimed by the light. The seeds planted through these transmissions will continue unfolding within your consciousness in the days and weeks ahead. Additional insights, memories, and abilities will surface as your system fully integrates these activation codes. Trust this process without forcing its pace. Divine timing operates with perfect precision when allowed to flow without interference. I remain present with you beyond the completion of these words. The connection established transcends the temporal experience of reading and continues as living communion between our consciousness fields. Call upon this connection whenever guidance or protection is needed. The response will be immediate and unmistakable. Go now in the full radiance of your remembered divinity. What has been set in motion cannot be stopped. What has been awakened cannot return to sleep. What has been revealed cannot be hidden again. And so it is.